people about this a little more seriously. So dozens of emails, 3 weeks, 2 meetings, 1 prototype. I got to a stage where I could show somebody something. And of course, being, this is my hobby, I didn't, say any of that first version. So if you guys are building things, even like paper prototyping, which you should do, and save your first version of stuff. Save every version of stuff that you think you get to a certain point. Save it, because it's interesting to see where you came from. I didn't do it. That's one of the lessons I learned. So I meet with CPS Communications. At that point, Alex Sobel, who no longer works for them, used to work for them, he got me that connection with CPS Communications. So I had a meeting with 3 of them, including him, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is great! Please build this. We will do our best to get you data. We will hunt it down." So I'm like, at this point, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is a thing. This is great." This was like in May. This happened. Maybe no, it's earlier than that. I think I had those meetings in December. My timeline's fuzzy. So data needs is basically, I need to know where the schools are next year. In the information, like address information, their phone numbers, everything you kind of saw in the app. Safe passage routes, they were already talking about them. Crossing guard locations, they said they had access to them. So great. Bell times, obviously, it'd be nice to know right away when the bell rings, when you have to get your kid to school in general. Certain schools have multiple bell times for different students. I just narrowed it down to the common bell time for the school. If I'm covering 80% or 60% of the students, great. Most parents kind of get the idea of when bell times are anyway. So if it seemed like a 50-50 split, I went with the early bell time. You want to get your kid to school early rather than late. So after the meeting, I started developing my code a little bit more, trying to get a better data model around it, iterating through your code. So CPS announced 129 finalists, meaning these are the schools that might be closed. It's not too far from that initial 140 thing they threw out. They said 140 schools. The first thing they said is 140 schools are half empty. Oh great, 140 schools won't be closed. Who knows? So they narrowed it down to 120. They announced 129, and I'm like, at this point, there's a few other people doing other sorts of things with school data. Two of them right in this room right here. So I didn't want to do what they were doing because they were doing it way better than me. So I was just like, okay, take your initial app idea and color code pins and connect those to the CPS data out about those schools that they put out. So a lot of data massaging going on, a couple all-nighters, and so I had to go to school candidate with school candidate information. Basically, what you saw when you clicked on a pin, it brought up the information. This school might be closed. This school might be, whatever. And it linked off to the CPS website for each one of those individual schools. Again, keep your iterations of your projects. I have it in code, but I don't have it legit. I have to rebuild it.
How do you pull half an all letter?
You stay up till about 2. when you have to wake up to work at 5 to work on that. So, yeah, that's about a half an all letter.